Hi guys, another video quite quickly off the back of the last one. Been a bit lacking up to recently, obviously homeschooling. So we've got another one here. Just done a video about going back to driving lessons and tests and bits and pieces like that, and how long the wait list could be for a new test if you were to fail, and how long it might take you initially to book your driving test. And that could be up to 5 months at the moment. So I want to talk about what the real cost of a driving test is, the real cost of failing your driving test. So, cost of failing your driving test. Everyone assumes that it's just another driving test. So, driving test, as you may or may not know, £62 for a driving test, £75 at the weekend or an evening, or a bank holiday. So, if you book your driving test and you fail, if we just take the test itself, we're going to look at, on that day, you're going to have £62 for your driving test, and then a 2-hour lesson usually with your driving instructor, so 1 hour before and an hour for the test. Obviously, if you're using your own car, then that's not quite the same. But we'll go for those guys that have got an instructor. So you've done that. So you've done £62 there, and you've probably done, let's work it out as £30 an hour ish as a figure. So you're at £122. You go out, you fail your test. For that £122, generally now, as soon as you fail your test, they're bringing you back to the test centre. Depending on where you are en route, it might feel like you've done the full test anyway, but you could get to the end of the road, fail, and be turned around at the next roundabout and brought back 5 minutes later. You might not even get out of the car park if you do something serious enough. So for that, you may have anywhere from 2 minutes to 30 minutes of a driving test. And then obviously, that's the monetary cost for that one. If you failed, you're going to need at least one new driving lesson. You'd probably have 2 or 3 to make sure. First, we fix what went wrong on your driving test. We then may well do another mock test on the next lesson, and then the third one might be your new test. Let's say all things are normal and we've not got these massive wait times. So you add 3 more in at £60 if you're doing 2-hour lessons. So there's another 180 that goes on your 122. So if my math serves me correctly, that's £302. You've then got to pay for another test. You pay for another test, another £62. You're £364 in from failing one test. People will fail tests for all manner of different reasons. I've got the video for the top 10 reasons why people fail, and I also covered it in the last video. Though this is the additional financial impact of failing a driving test. If you put that money into being better prepared, if you failed from not being ready, so not being able to drive properly or to test standard, that money would be so much better invested in extra lessons, and you'd probably only need to invest maybe 200 of it into extra lessons to get you up to where you wanted to be in the first place. So just booking a test and winging it and having a go because you think you'll be all right, or, oh no, I won't do that on my driving test. If anything, if you're making mistakes on lessons or with your parents, your driving test is such a high pressure situation that you'll probably you're more likely to make those mistakes. The more pressure you put on yourself, the more mistakes you make. Monetary wise, it's a massive extra burden for failing your driving test just because you're going to wing it and have a go because the experience will be good. The experience won't be good, like mentally as well. It'll be, you're now going to associate going to the driving test, going to the test centre potentially with a bad thought of, I failed this last time. It was horrible. That driving examiner was horrible. They failed me on this. And the reality is the driving examiners don't fail you. You fail yourself because you didn't do what you should have done. All they do is mark down what they see. They don't create a situation for you. You have to react to all the situations that are out there. Like I said, you're making a situation, you're associating driving test with failure. You're going to associate it with being nervous again. Then you're going to put more pressure on yourself to pass because obviously you've spent a load more money. And then every time you fail, if you look at, you're going to be having 2 or 3 extra lessons plus another test, and it's another £200 every time. All of a sudden becomes very expensive, and if you just invest that money in lessons rather than winging it, you're more likely to be successful first time. Now, just to touch briefly on pass rates for driving tests, because I think it's relevant. The average pass rate is for driving tests is around the 50% mark. I'll find the exact number and I'll put it on the screen, what the exact pass rate of driving tests is nationally. That generally doesn't tend to fluctuate much at all, by 1% or 2 either way it will go. Now, it's where it's around that 50% mark, that means half the tests that go out roughly from every test centre come back with a fail. Now, if you go with a driving instructor, generally you should have a better chance of passing. So my pass rate, if you take all the tests that have gone out versus all the tests that have come back with a pass, it's around the 75% mark. So you're giving yourself a bigger chance of passing and a smaller chance of failing by taking some professional advice. If you don't think you're going to be ready for your driving test, if you're one of the lucky ones that's got a test past the 22nd of April, you need to be talking to a driving instructor now to get some lessons in that 10 days between restart and tests restarting. Don't just think, well, I'll be all right with one. You might well be. Last time people's standards I found didn't drop too much, but it's the little things that make a difference. Know where your weaknesses are and work on them. Take a mock test with your driving instructor. That's also going to help, so you can understand what the scenario feels like for taking a test if you've not taken one before. But yeah, the cost of failing a driving test isn't just another £62. A lot more monetary than association of failing. And then people get themselves in this cycle of being, I can't do it, I can't do it, I can't do it. When most of the time people can do it by the time they get there in the end if they're ready. So like people I take to test, I know they're only going to test if they're ready. So when you go to test, you want to be knowing that you can drive well on your own without any input from anybody else other than the direction in which you're going to go, and then telling you, I want you to do a parking manoeuvre. You want to be able to do everything else by yourself, because then if you come back and fail, you'll probably come back, if you come back failed, you'll be like, I made a stupid mistake, I know I made a mistake. Or the nerves have just got the better of you and you weren't able to settle quick enough. And that's something that a driving instructor should be able to help you with, but it's some people just get hugely nervous at tests, and if you know you're that sort of person, there is plenty of sort of help out there. There's help out there for specifically for getting in the right frame of mind for a driving test, as well as like other things with the exams and stuff. Take that help, find that help, and that will help you calm down. Some people are big advocates of the Calms tablets or Rescue Remedy or whatever. Obviously I don't know if they work, if they're any good to take or not, but some students have taken them and found them very good. I don't know if they work or not. I've never used them. I don't even know what's in them, so I wouldn't be able to tell you. It's not advice to go out and get it, but they're an option if you know what they are and if you're happy using them. But that was just it. Just wanted to touch on that. Make sure you're ready. Look at the video for the top 10 reasons for why people fail their test. That is just purely on what boxes are ticked. If you were to go, I could probably do a list of other reasons why people fail their driving test that wouldn't just be the physical tick boxes. There'll be other reasons why people fail their test.